So today we are going to be doing a quick paint with me, and I'm going to be painting a scene from Spirited Away.
Spirited Away, which was made in 2001, is about a 10-year-old girl and her parents ending up in an abandoned amusement park inhabited by supernatural beings. Then she learns she has to work to free her parents who have been turned into pigs. It is a little bit strange and all over the place. There's so many things going on in this film, but Spirited Away shattered preconception notions about the art form, and it also proved that as a film created in Japan with elements of Japanese folklore central to its core, it would resonate deeply with audiences around the world. It is also a manifestation of fears and anxieties, as seen through the lens of its young lead female character. How she chooses to react to the ever-changing circumstances around her, even the most horrifying ones, defines this film's central moral. There are so many things going on in this film. There's so many different themes that you could address that go on during different scenes. Of course, the anxieties and the fears, plus the idea of greed, which is shown through different scenes, including when her parents get turned into pigs because they couldn't stop themselves from eating the food in the village. Now, of course, most of you will already know this because you would have seen the film and loved it, possibly, I'm hoping. Although, of course, some of you will not have seen this film, and it is on Netflix right now if you want to go and watch it, which I do suggest. The art form is incredible. There are so many different ways that they've done this, and it is just absolutely incredible to watch. The art throughout, even just the backgrounds themselves, are unbelievably beautiful. Studio Ghibli really is known for this kind of work, and this is arguably one of their most famous movies that they've done. So today I'm going to be painting this screenshot from the movie. As you saw, I started off with the sketch and then moved on to painting. I'm using gouache today to make this painting. I realized after doing this, where I painted the dragon and her skin, that I really should have done the background first, but this was a little bit all over the place. I was really excited and I kind of just didn't realize, so I ended up having to do the background after this, and that kind of got a little bit messy, but it still worked out. I'm making this a little bit more into my style, so it's not completely clean and flat colors or completely straight lines, which is more obviously of the animation style in the film, but I wanted to mix it up just a little bit to make it a little bit more me and a little bit more interesting. I definitely used a bit too much water while doing the background. I used this much water because I didn't want it to be just a flat color, and I didn't have any solid objects that I wanted to put in there. I just wanted it to be a little bit more, I don't know how to say them, but I want it to be watery and kind of just a nice watercolor background, kind of, which is great with gouache because you can just add more water and it basically becomes very similar to watercolor. But I added a little bit too much and it kind of went over a couple of the pieces in it. But, you know, thankfully I am using gouache, so I can just go over top with it, unlike watercolor. Now, like I said, along with My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away is one of the most famous Studio Ghibli films. Although a lot of people that I know say Howl's Moving Castle is their favorite, or even Kiki's Delivery Service. But unfortunately, I haven't seen those last two, which is a shame, and I really have to go and watch them. But I go in and out of loving and not really being interested in Studio Ghibli films because they are so artistic, and you're not always in that kind of mood. But when you are, it is absolutely amazing and you end up loving them. Make sure to put down your favorite Studio Ghibli film in the comments because I am curious which ones are actually the most popular. Apart from Totoro and Spirited Away, the only other Studio Ghibli film that I've seen is their most recent, which won a bunch of awards, The Wind Rises, which was incredible but extremely emotional. It was very chilled down and slow, which is very nice when you're in that kind of mood. Totoro was the first Studio Ghibli film that I ever saw. I remember watching it as a kid. I don't know why, but I guess my parents found it on the shelves of a DVD shop or something, and it said it was children's, so they watched it, and it was incredible, and it's so much fun, and the dad in that film he's just perfect, and it's amazing. But obviously, after watching Spirited Away and being aware that there are other films made by Studio Ghibli, Totoro is a bit more towards children, and you make appreciate the other films. So now I have moved on to adding a few more details with adding on different colors and going over the mane with the darker green. After this I go on to do her hair and then the stripes on her t-shirt. I wanted to make sure it was recognizable as Spirited Away, but also not being an exact copy of the screenshot. I wanted to make sure it was a little bit more in my style, with a little bit more creative influence. Now, once I finish up here, adding the fine details with the colours and the paints, I go on to do the line work, which is my favorite part. It just brings it all together so much, and you can add a bunch of more details, and it just makes it better all in all. Adding in the line work like this is definitely my favorite part. I actually got to add on a few extra little details, especially like in the fur where his face is, that weren't in the original picture or the original animation, because it is a little bit more, I don't want to say simplistic, but that's the only word I can think of. A little bit more simplistic in the picture, so I got to add on a few more details, which is always fun. And then I decided that it needed a little bit more, and I had a white marker and I wanted to add some white highlights. I went in with those, and I think it looks really good on the dragon, but it did not hit for the girl. I definitely needed a smaller highlight brush to do those fine details. It was too big on her. I think it did look good on him, but I decided it was good enough at the end of the day. It isn't perfect, but art never is.
That is the finished piece, which means this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!